Hello, everyone. I want to welcome Shelby Gluck to our discussion here on expanding diversity in technology, but more importantly, within cybersecurity. We have a pretty small pool of people that are filling a lot of roles, and so every little bit that we can get to help out is great. So, Shelby, welcome. And if you could, you want to kind of tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about your day in the life.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me, Derek. So I'm Shelby, like Derek said. My title is a customer success advocate at a company called Sonatype. What Sonatype does is help our customers manage the risk that comes along with using open source software. So modern day software, about 80 to 90% of shipped code is going to be compiled applications, and a lot of that is third-party or open source software. So that comes with inherent risks like security or license obligations, and what our tools do, integrate with our customers' software development lifecycle to help them manage that. And so my role is a post-sales, essentially coach. What I help my customers do is, one, technically implement these tools, but then two, also manage that relationship through the lifetime of their journey with Sonatype. Because it is a subscription product. So I have a very fun job, half technical, half interpersonal. My average day consists of mostly meeting with customers, but also communicating what happens in those meetings back to my company, people in my role and the product team. And I'll also spend some time, learning about our tools and making sure that I am an expert on the products.
Yeah, and that's difficult. I know that especially in security, I work in the application security space. So with the way that code is developed, and I saw RSA was maybe a week or two ago, and I went to one of the talks there about vulnerability management and specifically around third-party libraries. And each of the languages have different kind of breakdowns on how much of their code base is actually third party, and it's pretty astonishing. Things like especially like Java, I think it was something like, I don't remember the exact number, but it was like 70% or something in that range. It was a huge number of code that is being built and sent into production, that a lot of that is third party software. So that's certainly a big issue. You hear a lot about supply chain security. Open source software plays a huge role in that. So that it's definitely a good position to be in. So what about how did you get to your current role? What was your path to where you're at today?
Sure. I have a very non-traditional journey into tech. So I went to school to become a teacher. I'm a certified teacher. Didn't go into teaching, instead went into bars and restaurants and made that my career throughout my 20s. I have a passion for customer service, specifically in beverage. I would love to own my own bar one day. But Derek, we're not talking about beverage, are we, right now? What I found was that I was hitting the ceiling in hospitality. I was getting promoted. I was moving up, helping open new stores for growing concepts. And that was it. That was all the places you could go upwards. And so I said, okay, I have this very special set of skills. I'm a quick learner. Where else can I use this without that ceiling? I had seen some friends of mine transition into tech with similar backgrounds to mine, and I followed in their footsteps, and I attended a coding boot camp, which is essentially a comprehensive 6-month software development crash course. So I learned JavaScript, went into a couple contract coding positions, but ultimately wanted to get to a hybrid role where I could continue working with people, but now doing that in a space without the ceiling. So this role has been kind of a godsend because I get the technical side, but I get to still work with people every day. And I think once you find a type of work that doesn't burn you out, you should never leave it. You should continue to do that forever.
Yeah, I worked in a restaurant business as well before I got into tech, and I think that those type of skills when it comes to being able to have conversations with people, being able to interact with them, some of that gets lost in engineering. We're in engineering. You're very bits and bytes. It's ones and zeros, and you can tell a system and an application do exactly what you wanted to do. And I think sometimes because of that, we lose a lot of ability to be able to have conversations with other people, and honestly, like even influence. There is a part of influence when it comes to that hospitality type of business. So yeah, that's interesting. Do you find that, coming from that space, has that really helped you in your current role? And do you take like some of the stuff that you learned from that into your current role?
Absolutely. A lot of my job, customer success in general, and I would say even stretching to sales engineering or solutions engineering, is improvisation. So you do want to be able to have your suite of tech that you are an expert in, but we're always applying that to different things as engineers. In my role specifically, I'm applying it to a variety of tools and tech that my customers are using. I'm not an architect engineer or infrastructure operations engineer. Those are the people that I work with every day, and I have to be able to speak their language and get on their level without having that direct experience. And so I think the improvisation and the adaptation from working in bars has really been helpful.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess you know a lot of parlor tricks on happy hour too, right? So
I'm the icebreaker queen of my team. I can tell you that.
good. So with with you said, you have some software engineering background, or at least, some development background. Did you enjoy that, or did you are you still doing any hands-on work in that, or have you kind of moved away from that?
That's a really good question. I enjoyed coding. I've always liked math and logic puzzles. I did find for me that a direct full-time software engineering role was a little too much of staring at letters and numbers and not staring at faces. I think there are plenty of companies where you can find pure programming roles that are more face-to-face, and maybe you work to bring the customer's vision to life. And I'm sure it spans, but what I saw was a little bit of a coding monkey in the corner, repeating what they're doing every day. And I needed a little more diversity in my work. And that's when I stretched my job search a little bit bigger. It also, I think, gave me a leg up in the job search because I did have a career in interpersonal skill building. And that's not that important in a software engineering interview. So I also found that I did better in the job search looking for hybrid roles. I definitely still solve algorithms in my free time. I think that's a good skill to always keep up, because once you learn that, you can lose it pretty quickly. And then I do try and get hands-on anything technical at my company, any new tool we're using, any new board I can serve on. I love to be part of the product.
Great. So what do you think is the most rewarding aspect of the current role that you have? What do what really excites you about, the role that you're doing?
Yes, I think this is something I only realized recently, but a special part of my job is the visibility I have into tech today. So whereas someone who works purely internally knows how their company works, I have a portfolio of customers, and I get a glimpse into the day-to-day life of their team and the processes of their company and the history and the culture of how these teams and their processes came to be. And I think that's very special, especially moving forward. As someone young in my tech career, I'm able to build out what is important to me in a company, specifically a tech company, and be able to see that when I meet people who work for a new organization. It's very interesting. My job is similar to that of a consultant, in that I'm working with these different people and different software development life cycles every day.
Yeah. And I guess, you would see like a lot of different, every organization does things differently, but at the same time, you probably see a lot of patterns too in the way that things are being done. So yeah, I'm sure that's pretty interesting. So you got to have a lot of patience, working with the different clients that you work with. What do you find the most challenging as far as like dealing with, clients? Because clients can be fickle. I know that, in my role working with some vendors, like there's obviously, you want to get with a vendor, you want to, get their technology and integrate it and make it work because you're trying to solve a solution, but at the same time, or solve a problem, but at the same time you have internal pressures on budgets, and there's a lot of political battles going on, and sometimes things don't always line up. So do you find like challenges sometimes working with clients, and if you're comfortable talking about like what might be some of those challenges?
Sure. The first thing that comes to mind when you say that, which may be unique to me in this position as opposed to somebody else, would come down to stature, I guess. So when I meet with my customers, I am meeting with some pretty smart people, some pretty important people. I generally meet with directors, VPs, C-suite. Anybody in a decision-making position is going to be the person that I'm working with directly face to face. That was very intimidating at first. I am generally the youngest person in the room, oftentimes the only woman. And so that was something that I had to deal with. It came down to confidence and I think preparation, and then how that affects my conversations with customers. I have had to learn that I don't need to be perfect. I don't need to be the absolute expert, because nobody in tech is the expert on everything. That's impossible. Tech changes by the minute. So I work to listen to my customer and really come back with prepared solutions and strategies for them, instead of feeling the need to solve every problem exactly on the spot. So definitely that patience piece that you're talking about.
Yeah. And I think, there's an aspect of results, right? If you're getting the results, because everybody suffers from, what they call imposter syndrome, right? It's when you get to a certain point in your career. And I think this is more prevalent in tech and in business and things like that, where everyone kind of struggles with that. I mean, I do too. When you get up in the morning, you're like, I can't believe that I'm being paid to do this, right? Somebody's going to know at some point that I don't know what I'm talking about. But yep. And I think everybody goes through that at some point. But I think it really comes down to being able to measure your results, right? And I think if you're able to show that you're getting results, you're getting things done, right there is the proof that that you're being effective at your job. So
absolutely.
All right, so big super deluxe question here. What's your what kind of books do you read? What's your favorite type of book or genre, or
That's an easy one. I can do that. I love to read. I've always loved to read. I am a little bit of a book nerd. I go sci-fi and fantasy almost exclusively. My mantra is that if the plot of a book could happen in my world, I don't want to read it.
Yeah.
So I'm time travel, talking animals, wizards, you name it. That's my stuff.
Good stuff. Yeah, I like those too. I do a lot of reading throughout the year too, but I always mix it in with like some tech books and some some novels, but I do like a lot of history books too. So I go through phases where I'm like reading book after book on some historical topic, and it's like I got to change up here and there. But good. Yeah, that's good to hear. I love the fantasy stuff. So it's good to find another a fantasy lover here. So all right, so where can people find you, connect with you if you want to be found? Where can people reach out to you if they want to?
Absolutely. I am on LinkedIn every day. It's the social media that I use the most, which is probably not very cool, but it's true. So Shelby Gluck, Gluck. I think I'm the only one. I have a pretty unique name. Send me a friend connection, shoot a message that this is where you saw me, and I would love to connect and even chat.
Cool. All right. Well, Shelby, thank you very much for this conversation. It was great to talk to you and find out more about you. And, it was great talk. So really enjoyed it.
Thanks for having me, Derek.
All right. Thank you.